Alright guys, so today we're talking about false imprisonment. Now that's a legal term, and in a moment I'm going to tell you how it connects to ride sharing. Okay, so what false imprisonment means is any kind of action, illegal action by the way, that restricts a person's right to movement. Now, as a fundamental human right, everybody is allowed to move freely to wherever they want to go. Why this is now important is if a person infringes upon that right illegally, such an action is actionable. That is to say, you can file a suit and seek redress and seek damages in a court of law. A civil suit, by the way. Let me further buttress what I mean by this. In Nigeria currently, we have a couple of agencies, security agencies. You have police, you have VIOs, you have road safeties, you even have the tax force. Although those ones, I don't consider them very honest people, because I even saw one of them. The face was very familiar in my area. When after the day's work, on their way home, I saw him sharing some money. It seemed like they'd collected for the day amongst themselves, away from their duty post, obviously. And they say it's a local government establishment or something. I don't know why you can't just delegate that duty to our security agencies already established. Why you had to create a task force to accuse and harass people that carry all these vans and lorries and trailers, all of that. But for the sake of this video, I don't consider them part of our security agencies. So we're talking police, VIO, road safety, and quite recently the VIOs have been ousted from the Abuja terrain, thanks to the effort of some wonderful legal luminaries. They are appealing the judgment, by the way, by 5th of November. They intend to appeal that decision because right now they are unable to do anything unless participate in traffic roles and duties. They are unable to do anything. They have been decommissioned for the meantime until the judgment. And by virtue of what was being said over the news, we heard that they are trying to appeal for at least the ability to function, not necessarily in terms of impounding vehicles and fining offenders, but just in their capacity as people who can renew vehicle papers and some other administrative functions. Okay, so out of these three main agencies, the police does a duty of stop and search or checkpoints. Stop and search is different from checkpoints. When it is stop and search, you tend to see people like the SARS on the way. People that will literally stop your vehicle, ask you to come down, and then they literally look inside. That's their duty. They're not infringing on any rights, any of your rights. That's their duty. They stop you and they search you. And then checkpoints are people, they are not essentially supposed to search you. They're just supposed to make sure that security-wise, everything is all right. And these are mostly the people you see around 9 p.m. all around the exit points of Abuja city. They just want to look into your vehicle and ask whoever it is you're carrying to make sure that they are okay and they're not under any duress, or maybe they're being kidnapped, anything like that. That's your typical checkpoint. All right. Now the VIOs and the road safety also fall on the checkpoints. You come and then they stop you randomly, and then they check your documents to see that everything is in order, and then they let you go. That's basically what they're supposed to do. Now, why false imprisonment is somehow connected to this let me explain. In a situation where a VRU agent or a road safety agent stops you, or even the police stops you and tries to impute something on you, a crime, an offense that you are not guilty of, and by so doing keeps you stranded for a period of time, it doesn't matter how short or how long, that period of time where they have kept you without any legal ground, such an action is tantamount to the offense of false imprisonment. And hence, you as the victim here, you can actually file a suit in a civil court. It's a civil case, by the way. Nobody goes to jail when you file any case in a civil court. Let me give you a very practical example. This one happened to me. Now, what happened was, it was on a work day, so I was driving down a particular road and I met with these road safety guys. And then they asked for my papers, obviously, which I gave to them. And then they proceeded to, the person I gave my papers proceeded to check my license, my insurance, sorry, not license, and said, I hope if I run this through the system, it's going to turn up to be an authentic one. That was an odd question because nobody has ever asked me that question before. I don't understand why I would have a fake document traveling around. And I'm not saying it's not possible to have a fake one, but it's just not a pandemic yet or an epidemic. So I said, of course. So he checked, and then he came back with his phone and he showed me, and it was like, no policy found. I started to panic because I've been using this for almost a year now, because it's been several months. And nobody has ever told me that my vehicle papers are wrong, and I paid full amount for it. I went through the right channels to renew the papers. On what basis is this paper not valid? Has the VRU officer who renewed my paper, done some shady thing and just took my money but didn't deliver properly? I was just thinking about a lot of things. My mind was racing. I was really feeling unsettled. So I immediately had to call the VRU officer who renews my paper, and then I was like, the insurance document you gave to me, it seems like it may be fake. Even he was starstruck, right? He was feeling like, no, it's not fake. It's obviously the main thing. You know what? Let me check it. Send me your whatever detail on WhatsApp. I will check it right now, and then I'll send it to you. So I sent it, and in under 2-3 minutes, he sent me the same copy, the same hard copy of what I have in soft copy on my WhatsApp. I looked at it, and then I showed the officer, the road safety officer, who had said that my policy was a fake one. And he wasn't so willing to look at it. So I showed it to another person who appeared to be their boss or in charge. He too was just feeling like, no, that officer has checked it and said this is what it is and all that, right? Ultimately, I called my VIA officer again, and then he said, bro, okay, you know what, I'll send you the website where you yourself can verify it, and then you can show it to them right there. If they don't accept, just understand that they're just trying to have you settle with them, give them something. That's just what this is. Now, why this is most annoying for me was because I had a customer in the vehicle. I had 2 ladies in the back seat, literally just waiting to be like, why are we still wasting time? I thought you showed them your... I'm like, yeah, I did, but I think we were trying to verify something. Please just give me a minute. And anyway, the whole thing dragged on for a while because from time to time they got distracted with other vehicles, and then they weren't focusing on what I had to say and all that. So, which made it even more frustrating. At some point, the ladies they had to leave, right? Let's sort this out, because I was sure that my documents were okay. You were saying it's fake. I'm trying to show you that it's not fake. After the VIA officer sent me the link to check if it's fake or not, I checked it and I realized it's actually real. So where is that guy getting his own information from to say that my documents were fake? Anyway, at the end of the day, they now pointed at something else, right? Something, I'm trying to remember what it was. They said my spare tire was not as graded. Like they just had to pick up on something and was like, yeah, you see that, this is bad or this is not. I'm like, of course it's a spare tire. It's why it's a spare, man. It's not exactly top notch. It's a spare. But I was just thinking to myself. The end of the day, I settled them up with like 3,000, and then they let me go. Now this was a very precise case of false imprisonment. Why is it the case of false imprisonment? Because they actually held me illegally. My documents were fine, but they held me against my... They practically restricted my right to movement on the grounds of something that was not true. False imprisonment. Now, I didn't have it in me to document any of this, because if I went to court, it's just going to be hearsay evidence. I'm just going to be saying, then they now said, and then they too will now be like, and then he now said, then they now said, and the judge will be looking at us like, okay, when you're done, I think you people can go and settle. You have to have an evidence. So if I knew, one of the best thing that would have helped was a dash cam, right? A dash cam would have helped to record this conversation, or I could have put on my recorder and see to it that I actually at least picked up on most of these conversations to be able to use as an evidence. But then again, this is not a situation where I knew for a fact that these guys were going to, pound me in such a manner or handle this issue like this. Most of the people just want to check your document and send you off on your way. No need to extend or complicate things, right? So, it's a case of false imprisonment, and the reason is this. Another person might argue and say, no, nobody is actually keeping you hostage. They're just keeping your car hostage, because the VIOs and the road safety cannot arrest you as a person. If you decide to off your car and leave it there and go, they will not hold you. They don't arrest human beings, right? The police are the people who arrest you, but for a crime. Okay? But the law actually stipulates that if by extension the right of a person's movement is illegally taken away, then that is the person who is carrying out this action is also guilty of the offense of false imprisonment. This is what it means. If you come to a checkpoint, a police checkpoint, for instance, late at night, you're walking with your friend and then there's a police checkpoint. By the time you get there and then the police decide to take your phone, or maybe take your bag or something, and then they're like, my friend, you can go, get out of here, get out of, or leave, or whatever. That is also false imprisonment, because by extension, them holding your property has also, in a way, held you in that position. Because you would want to live with your property, you would want to live with your car, you would want to live with any of your belongings. You don't want anybody to have it. Especially when it is illegal to do so. Okay? Or when they're doing it on grounds of illegality, when they don't have the right to do so, or the powers to do so, or it's not their duty to do so. This is why, or this is when it is referred to as false imprisonment. It's important for you to know some of these laws, yeah, so that as you are out there on the way or on the road hustling on a daily basis. You don't let any other person harass you. In fact, there is no need to make an issue out of it like, I know my right, I know my... No need to shout all of that. Just make sure you have a substantial evidence. If it's a little recording, if it's a video, if it's whatever you have to do, just have the evidence. It goes so smoothly when you have the evidences. And understand this, in every civil cases, the reward or the damages, as it is rightly called in law, is money. Nobody's been sent to prison. If you were to sue the VIO for something, for some kind of false imprisonment charges or something like that, they're just going to pay you money. The court is going to direct them to pay you such and such amount of money in damages. So think of it as also another way to cash out, but in terms of the law, is a way to teach these people. I mean, if you do it again, you're going to lose money. So nobody wants to lose money. So that's the whole idea. So, all right. So that's just the main gist. Yeah. Remember to have your evidence if you're going to make an issue about this. And well, I'll see you in the next one. Hope you're still winning. Yeah. Bye bye.